Greetings everyone. Dear viewers, many people say, in this day and age, who still makes love only in bed? It may sound like a playful remark, but it opens up a completely different way of looking at intimacy, at the body's desire for freedom, and at emotional connection. For generations, the bed has been considered the default place for closeness. A warm blanket, a soft mattress, gentle pillows, all of these seem to exist for intimate moments. But is that really true? Is the bed the only place where we know how to love, where we truly live in harmony with the desires of the body? The truth is, sometimes the more we try to seek comfort, the easier it becomes for love to grow dull, for emotions to cool down, and for passion to turn into a formula. There are reasons why stepping away from the bed may actually be a way of returning to our instincts. First, what is primitive is often what feels most real. In modern society, people easily lose their connection with nature and with the primal sensations that were once an inseparable part of human life. Love, when taken beyond the familiar four walls, can become a kind of revival. Imagine a bare back touching the earth, soft grass brushing against the skin, the sound of wind passing by your ears, the scent of trees, soil, and night air. That imperfect friction somehow brings people back to the most authentic part of themselves. Humans are born from nature, and sometimes they must return to nature to remember how alive their bodies truly are. Some people say that the first time they lay beneath the stars with the person they loved, on a night when meteors crossed the sky, became a memory they would never forget. It was not perfect in the way a luxury hotel or neatly ironed bedsheets might be, but it brought a softness to the soul, a raw yet gentle kind of happiness. Some people even choose to rediscover that feeling once every year, as if it were a ritual of liberation, not liberation of desire, but liberation from monotony. Second, youth does not disappear, we simply forget it. Who says adults must always be proper, restrained, and follow a fixed order? When we were in our 20s, sometimes just holding a hand, exchanging a glance, or standing in a quiet corner of a staircase was enough to make the heart beat faster. To love was to dare, to take risks, to stop worrying about what others might think. Unexpected moments and bold choices in forbidden spaces often create memories that can never be erased. Some say that loving outdoors feels like challenging the whole world, not knowing who might pass by, not knowing whether you might be discovered, not knowing where that nervous excitement might lead. And perhaps that is exactly why it is beautiful, like fireworks, brief, brilliant, and impossible to repeat in exactly the same way. As we grow older, how many of us still dare to let our hearts beat with the rhythm of youth? Third, some encounters have no reason, and some moments of intimacy arrive before love itself. This is not merely a question of morality, it is a question of human nature. A trip far from home, a night touched by wine, an old song, a stranger. Sometimes these unusual circumstances open a new door in life. Some people have met their life partner in such a situation. During the day, they might never have noticed that kind of person, but in an unfamiliar place, they themselves became a different version of who they were, less cautious, less bound by rules, less afraid. A kiss in a dark garden, an unexpected hand held tightly, a moment of closeness that was never planned, and yet it became the beginning of lasting happiness. When the body speaks before the heart, sometimes that is how the heart finds its truest direction. Not everything spontaneous is dangerous. Sometimes that very impulsiveness becomes the most beautiful turning point in a person's life. Fourth, it is precisely familiar places that need to be made strange again. The house, work, children, the kitchen, Over time, all of these become an invisible cycle that quietly kills emotion. Love is no longer an act of discovery. It becomes a routine. The bed, the blanket, the bedroom, the familiar position, the familiar rhythm. Everything becomes so predictable that just thinking about it is enough to know what will happen next. But who says home has to be boring? With only a small change, everything can become completely different. A cabinet, the bathroom, the balcony, the kitchen, every place where we once worked, cleaned, and passed by each day can become a territory of emotion. When familiar things become unexpected, the feeling of being alive returns with intensity. One woman jokingly said that when she cooks, she serves her husband. But when they make love in the kitchen, her husband becomes the one who serves her. These subtle role reversal games refresh emotions and renew even a marriage that once seemed settled and predictable. Fifth, even a familiar person can become new again. Who dares to say they know everything about the person beside them? Someone may appear polite, calm, refined, fond of old books and opera, and seemingly unrelated to anything wild. But with the right attraction, the right moment in nature, and the right atmosphere, instinct can awaken. Under the sunset, among the sound of birds, in the cool air of the forest, a person who once seemed composed may become intense in the most beautiful way. And it is precisely that contrast that helps two people understand each other more deeply and respect each other more fully. When the body is freed, the mind is also freed. Invisible barriers disappear, and the person you thought you knew so well suddenly becomes someone completely different, more open, more sincere, more real. So why do we believe that love is natural, yet think intimacy must follow a fixed pattern? Why do we praise creativity, yet turn closeness into a rigid habit? Why do we dare to change our hairstyle, our career, and our way of thinking, but not dare to change the place where we love? What makes people suffer is not morality, but fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being different, fear of leaving the comfort zone. But happiness does not belong to those who live only according to what others allow. Listen to your heart, trust your body, explore simple pleasures in everyday life. That is the real key to opening the door to joy. A truly free woman is not a perfect woman, but one who dares to be honest with her desires. And you, how long has it been since you only knew how to make love in bed? Thank you for watching. I will end today's sharing here. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, like and share this video to spread knowledge about married life, relationships, and emotional connection. Goodbye and see you again.